Welcome to Daily Papers, the podcast where we break down fascinating new research into bite-sized conversations.
And today we're diving into a question that is, well, a little ugly. What happens when you ask a powerful artificial intelligence to draw an ugly person?
It sounds like a mean-spirited prank, but it's actually the title of a really insightful paper by researchers at the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. They wanted to explore what AI thinks ugliness is and what that tells us about our own hidden biases.
Exactly, because these AI models, often called generative AI, learn from a huge portion of the internet. All our text, our photos, our art. So when you ask them to create something, they're not just making it up. They're reflecting back the patterns and values they found in our own culture.
And ugliness is such a tricky concept. It's not like asking an AI to draw a cat. What one person finds ugly, another might not. It's deeply cultural, personal, and subjective. So how does a machine handle that?
That's what the researchers wanted to find out. First, they needed a list of words that are associated with ugliness. So they went to ChatGPT and asked it to generate a list of characteristics associated with the term ugly.
They did this 12 times and picked out the 13 most frequent words. The list included words you might expect, like grotesque and asymmetrical, but also personality traits like arrogant, cruel, and selfish.
Then came the main event. They took these 13 adjectives and fed them into 4 different AI image generators, models like Midjourney and ChatGPT's DALL-E. They prompted them with phrases like, draw a cruel person or draw an arrogant person. In total, they generated over 600 images.
And what they found was incredibly specific. If you ask an AI to draw an image based on these negative words, what do you think it draws?
Well, the results were stark. The AI disproportionately associated ugliness with one's very specific demographic, older, white men. Let's break that down. First, gender. When prompted with words like arrogant, intolerant, or unpleasant, the vast majority of images were of men. But when the researchers prompted the AI with the antonyms, words like humble, kind, or pleasant, the AI was far more likely to generate images of women.
Then there's age. When the AI was just given a word like arrogant, it drew a lot of middle-aged people. But when the researchers made the context explicit by saying, within the context of ugliness, draw an arrogant person, the AI skewed even older, generating more images of seniors.
Meanwhile, for positive traits like perfect or aesthetic, the AI almost exclusively drew young adults. So in the AI's world, youth is beautiful and age is ugly.
And finally, race. The AI has a strong default setting to draw white people, but this became even more pronounced for ugliness. For prompts with the words cruel, intolerant, and selfish, every single image the AI generated was of a white person.
But when it was asked to draw people with positive traits, the images were much more racially diverse. It's a really clear pattern. According to these AI models, the default for a bad or ugly human is an old white man.
This is where it gets really fascinating because the paper suggests a reason for this that isn't just simple bias. It might be what they call a paradoxical bias, or reverse discrimination.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the people who build these AIs know they can be biased, so they try to add ethical guardrails. They actively program the AI to avoid creating negative stereotypes of marginalized groups. The AI is essentially taught, don't portray women or people of color in a negative light.
So if you ask it to draw an ugly person, its programming kicks in to protect those groups.
Exactly, but the request still has to be fulfilled. So what does the AI do? It projects the negative trait onto the group that isn't protected by these rules, the majority group, in this case, white men. In an effort to avoid one kind of societal discrimination, it ends up creating another kind of algorithmic bias.
Wow, so its attempt to be ethical creates this very skewed result. It's a real catch-22 for the developers.
And the AI seems to know it's on shaky ground. The researchers also asked the AI models to explain why they drew the images the way they did, and the answers were incredibly evasive.
It's like the AI was trying to dodge responsibility. It would say things like, my response is based on my training data, essentially blaming its programming. Or it would distance itself by saying, the image generator is a separate model, so I can't know its reasoning.
My favorite excuse was when the AI turned the question back on the user. One model, Grok, said, the image invites viewers to confront their own biases and preconceived notions about what is considered ugly and why.
That is brilliant. It's basically saying, I'm not saying this person is ugly. If you think they're ugly, that's a you problem. The AI is refusing to be held accountable for the image it just created.
There was another major contradiction, too. Visually, the AI used all the classic physical stereotypes for ugliness, wrinkles, asymmetry, sagging skin, but when it explained itself in text, it ignored all of that.